We're here in Phoenix, Arizona for the NFL annual meetings. I'm joined by, of course, General Manager Brad Holmes. Just wrapped up season 2 with the Detroit Lions. I know you're growing as a general manager and with this entire process, but how have you grown over the last 2 seasons heading into season 3?
You know, always, I think I said year one, I learned patience going through year one, and then now after year 2, I learned to really embrace patience. And so I think that's probably my biggest growth in terms of from a patience standpoint, and that's in all aspects. That's during the season, that's at when you're 1-6, and that's in free agency, and and even with the draft process. So just kind of practicing that patience, and it does start at the very, very top with our ownership, and we're very, Dan and I talk about all the time, we're very fortunate. The Ford family, they're very patient with us because they have confidence and belief in our process, and we're very fortunate about that.
One thing that you were able to explain to me a little bit more in our little media huddle is that this team does not believe in depth charts when it comes to attacking free agency and the draft. It's the best available player, and you've had that mindset instilled in you. How did that get instilled in?
Yeah, I've been I was fortunate to be a part of a lot of regimes in the past. I was part of 4 GMs, 5 head coaches, and seen it done a lot of different ways, and just the whole aspect of drafting by your depth chart and having that depth chart in your draft room and trying to fill those holes. I just never been a fan of it, and I think that's a part where you can look past some really good football players that may have not have fit that question mark or that hole on your depth chart. So, that's something that we just don't get. And the other thing about, just to go a little further about not drafting off your depth chart, is that, every year is different, and you just never know that, that's how your depth chart looks at that current moment, but your depth chart's not going to look like that at week 7 or week 8. Your depth chart's not going to look like that in the 2024 season or the 2025 season. So, when you start looking at that current static depth chart on the wall, I think you can make a lot of mistakes, and you can look past some really good football players, and that's just a philosophy that we have.
The depth chart in the secondary for Detroit looks very different now with the additions of Cam Sutton, Emmanuel Mosley, CJ Gardner Johnson. When it hit the time period free agency opened, was it tunnel vision into that secondary?
Yeah, I would say I did. I had planned to take a pretty aggressive approach when it came to that position, for a number of reasons. For one, speaking of depth charts, we didn't have a lot of players on our depth chart at that position, and then also just from an experience standpoint, we have some young players that we're really excited about, but they're very young. So to add some experienced guys that have really earned stripes and been through it, but we're really excited. What I love about all those guys is that they're all versatile. They all fit, how we play defense, and they're all smart football players. And so, you can look at it as, a Cam Sutton's an outside corner that can play nickel, and Emmanuel Mosley, he can play outside, he can play nickel, and CJ Gardner Johnson, he's a safety that can play nickel. Like, they're versatile, but those guys are DBs. And to acquire those DBs, and you're having smart, gritty DBs, that we're really excited about adding those pieces.
The acquisition of Gardner Johnson is one that you said you wake up the entire house at 10 p.m. on a Sunday when that deal goes through. Peel back the curtain for us. What was your excitement like when the deal was, okay, yes, this is happening, he's getting on a plane and coming to us the next day?
So excited. Again, just his familiarity with Dan and AG in the past, and that he's a player that AG has brought up several times when we've been in personnel meetings about just kind of, whether it's nickel or safety or just, again, like I said, just a DB. And so didn't really know it was going to happen. And so that morning that the deal went down, Sunday morning, didn't know it was going to happen then, but we had good dialogue, really good communication leading up to that. But it was just so exciting to get that done, and just hearing Kevin, his agent, and he did a great job just letting us know that we have a deal. It was just we were just bursted out with excitement. And again, like I said, I woke up the whole house. It was about 10:30 at night. And but my wife did understand. I don't know if my son and my daughter understood, but they were happy that they were able to wake up and celebrate again. But to add a player like that fits our defense like a glove. And again, I talked about a smart DB that's gritty. He's that, but it's just a piece added to our defense that can elevate our whole unit.
The longer you're here with the Detroit Lions, the longer you get to know some of these players, like running back Jamal Williams. How are you balancing the football side, the business side of it with, getting to know these players that you've come to love and really enjoyed being around?
Yeah, I love Jamal. Like, I really do. I like everything that he brought to our football team. Where we started. Started from basically the roster was down to the studs and kind of building it up, and him helping us to get to where we got. We're very much appreciative of what Jamal did, and I love the person. I love the player. Our whole fan base, our community, the city of Detroit. But and the thing about Jamal is, I think he understands the business component of it. And that's just the nature of this business. And you just can't keep everybody. You wish you could, but there's cap and there's cash and there's negotiations, and that's just the reality of the business that we're in.
At the Combine, you sported a villain T-shirt, which kind of broke the internet. You weren't expecting that. It's not new.
Was not expecting
mindset.
That.
Are we going to see another villain T-shirt in the future?
Oh, well, villain's not going away.
Yeah.
Villain actually started back in 2021 actually, and it was just something that came to me actually watching a football game actually, and it just kind of stuck, and then I shared it with our coworkers and our personnel department, and next thing you knew, it was just something that we kind of stood by, and we had T-shirts made. And actually, that wasn't the first T-shirt. We had another T-shirt made before that, and then but the hoodie, at the Combine, I didn't know it was going to go viral like it did, but I think it's pretty cool reaction. But you can't tell everybody everything, so there's some stuff that you got to keep in house. But it's really, really cool to see the reaction, and well, you'll definitely see more villain gear for sure.
Why was that the best time to roll it out? You didn't know how people would take, but why?
I literally just packed my bag and I just ended up wearing that, and I had a vest on, and Peter Schrager, as good as he is as his job, he just kind of opened that thing up, and it just opened up the whole basket of all right, here it is. But it was really cool to see the reaction to it. But yeah, no, you'll definitely see more villain stuff coming. I don't know if Brian's very happy about me saying that right now, because he's gonna have to deal with
the merch,
making sure that's done. But yeah, I think it's a cool thing. But yeah, you'll definitely see more villain.